So today what we're going to talk about on this segment is sleeping bags, stuff sacks, pads, just kind of that whole sleeping system. We've already got one up for tents, bivvies. Go check that out. While you're there, subscribe and like. We'd really appreciate it. So let's get this thing kicked off. We generally just use down bags. Your compressibility with your weight to heat ratio that you get out of it is, in my opinion, better than you can with synthetic. Synthetic can be heavy. You can be looking at a 0-degree bag, 4.5, 5 pounds. This particular bag right here is about 6 years old. It's a 650 down. It's a 0-rated bag. It's got a little bit of insulation in the bottom. Most of the volume is on top. This bag is the same way. This is a Mountain Smith, and this is a Mountain Hardware. I don't really get too much into what brand is better than whatever other brand. Basically what I do is I just buy what works best for me. The things I look for is, number one, how much it's going to cost me. Number two is what volume am I going to get and how much is it going to weigh. Those two are huge. And so that's how we're going to break this down. We're going to look at the cost of the bag. I normally don't like to talk about price, but I'm going to give you an idea between these two bags, what we're talking, along with the sleeping pads. I'm not going to really get into costs on the stuff sacks. You can do your own research on that. This particular bag, we've got 3 of them. They're about 5 years old. This is a storage sack that it comes in. So that's what you store it in. If you try and store it in, say the compression stack that it comes with, what happens is you end up compressing the fibers and breaking them down, and your bag won't last as long. Down bags, if you take care of them right, you store them in the right bag, you let them hang, and you don't really mush that fiber and mess up the down, you can get 20-30 years out of one. You can wash them in a mild soap. You got to be super careful, hang dry them. They're going to take a while to dry. This one's 5 years old. I haven't washed it. We've just been real careful with it. I try to sleep fully dressed, meaning a long sleeve shirt and long sleeve pants, or long pants instead of shorts and no shirt, sleeping just in your underwear. That helps to minimize the oil and whatnot on the inside of your bag, and it'll help it last longer. It won't build up an odor to it. You can sleep in a real thin merino wool to get a little extra benefit. Is pretty much what we do. We just sleep in a lightweight, whether it's a silk, polypropylene, or a merino wool, to give us an added R value and to keep from smelling up the inside. I just want to, both bags are real similar. Some bags have what they call a draft collar. This right here goes from the front all the way around the back over to the side. And then it's got a tube collar, or tube draft, that goes down the side that keeps air from the zipper seeping in. As I mentioned before, the insulation on the bottom is pretty thin. All the volume is on top. That's where a good quality pad comes in. We'll hit the pads a little bit later. Some of the things that I really like about these two styles sleeping bags, and they both have real similar. This one does not have a draft collar in it, which is fine with me. This one does. This one does have the draft tube down the side, as this one does as well. They both have material on the inside, keep from the zipper running back and forth real easily without getting caught up on the material and ripping material. This material will rip fairly easily if you're not careful. I have a little hole right here on this particular bag. On your Velcro, one thing that's really nice is they do this strip right here so that you can fold this over, because the last thing you want to do is be laying there with this flopping around and scratching inside of your face. A couple times I have opened up the bag to air out at night, and I'll roll over and my face will hit this, and it's just not very comfortable. So it's really nice to have that. It holds it in place to keep your face from coming in contact with that Velcro, and the catch side of the Velcro is not so bad. It's pretty soft. One thing that both these bags have is it's got a hood draw string, so you can cinch that bad boy down right around your face and keep you nice and warm. So you just have just a little vent area for your nose and mouth. Another thing, when we are sleeping in our down bags, we often, if it's cold out, we'll wear a stocking cap of some sort to keep our hair oil from getting the inside stinky, so you don't get that smell on there, especially if you've been hunting for 4 or 5 days and you climb in and I do shower. I've got a way that I shower, and I'll introduce you to a couple of those things later on in another segment. But at any rate, I do wear a hood, a hat when I'm sleeping in this. In the warmer weather, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just take this hood and flip it back and use it kind of like a pillow, so that my hair, I'm not leaving body oil and hair inside there. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we try and wear fully clothed so that we're not getting oil on the inside. This one does unzip almost all the way completely to the bottom. It is double zippered, so if your foot box is starting to get a little on the warm side, you can unzip it and vent in various parts. So that ability is there. It's got these little hook straps that you can hang them up so they're hanging. They have loops down the side. There's one right here and another one right here. And what those are for, there's one on the opposite side right here. So what you can do is you can actually get a little bungee and wrap it around your sleeping pad and run the little bungee with the hooks on the sides to hold the pad underneath. So while you're rolling around in the bag will stay flat with the pad, and your body can roll around on the inside without twisting the sleeping bag around you. The difference between these two bags, this is a 0-degree bag. The Mountain Hardwear is a 32-degree bag. This one does have Q-Shield on the down feathers, which basically repels water. That doesn't mean that your down isn't going to get a little bit wet, because in a down sleeping bag, if your down does get wet, you lose some of your R value. They're trying to avoid that in this particular bag using the Q-Shield that Mountain Hardwear uses in some of their jackets and other products that they have. Here in a bit, after we get into talking about all these items, I will stuff this stuff sack, this sleeping bag in this stuff sack. This is the storage bag for this particular Mountain Hardwear. This is what they gave me for a stuff sack to take your bag with you in the backcountry. It's too big. Actually, I don't use it. I use this one. Again, you got to keep in mind that you don't want to get your down wet. If you get your down wet, you're going to lose your R value. If it's very cold out, you're screwed. You will not stay warm. And there's just no fast way to dry out down. You'd be nuts to build a fire and try and dry it out with a fire. I mean, that's just crazy. And so spend a little extra money, 20 bucks or whatever it is, to get one of these. Again, the sacks that they send with most of these things are usually too big. When all's said and done with this sleeping bag in here, and again, as soon as we're done talking about all this stuff, this bag, when I get it rolled down to make it waterproof, I can take this compression strap and it goes around up and over the top. It's got air in it right now. You can see it hold the air pretty well. This flips over the top like this, and then you can take your watertight bag, your waterproof bag, and you can cinch it down and shrink it down even smaller. So this is about how big this sleeping bag is once I get it stuffed, versus this big huge bag that they send with you. I rather go this route. I can compress it, number one. More importantly, I can keep my bag dry by using a waterproof bag. In this tent, or excuse me, in this sleeping bag, what we do is, for my boys, they have a dry bag that's just a regular old drawstring dry bag, and what they do is they take this bag, they stuff it in here, close it up, and then they put it inside here, and then use this compression bag This bag was about $10 versus buying this bag at about $25, so they opted to go that route. It works really well with this bag, and it's going to save you from getting wet. If you're trying to cross a stream or a river or something, and the number one rule is you take your pack off, because if you go down with a 50-pound pack on in water, you're going to have a hard time getting yourself situated to get back up. You're better off take your pack off and put it over your head. Having said that, however you do it, that's your choice. If this falls into the water and it gets wet, again, like I said before, you're going to be screwed if you don't have it in something like this to keep it dry. Granted, this bag right here is water resistant, and so if you dropped it in some water and then picked it back up, this will repel the water for a very short period of time. But if you were to drop it in the river and it were to float downstream, and you're 10 miles back or however far back you are, you could have some real serious problems. What I want to talk about now are pads. I'll kind of show you the evolution of pads that I've gone through, and kind of discuss that real quick. Again, the pads that come with these things are ridiculous. They're just way too big on these first two. On this one, I mean, as you can see, it's just right. It's all rolled up and fits in here just right. This is my most recent purchase on pads, and I'm not going to unroll it, but I'll open it up and we'll just kind of talk about them. This pad right here, I've slept directly on the snow with it. It's done extremely well. It's not a real thick pad. I like to sleep on my side, so my shoulders get sore if I don't have a little bit of cushion protection there. So with this pad, I've slept on the snow. I've slept 4 seasons with it. But again, it's only about a half an inch, 3/4 inch thick. So it doesn't give me a lot of protection. On the snow, in the tent, this is fine. In an igloo, this is fine. This works for me. You're on the snow. It's not that hard. It's fairly comfortable to sleep on this pad. This is a 3-season pad that's about 2.5 inches thick. These are self-inflating. You just open up the valve here on the side. It'll fill up with air. When you get it as full as it's going to take naturally on its own, you can blow 2 or 3 blows into it so it's nice and tight. Throw your bag on here, lay down on it, see how it feels. You can reach up over your head like this because your head's going to be right here. You just reach up over, grab this. You can open it up a little bit and get that air adjusted to your liking, and then seal it up and you're good to go. Usually with these, they'll leak a little bit because of the hot and the cold, the temperature change during the day, that I find maybe about every 3 or 4 days I've got to blow a little bit more air into them if I'm staying for 5-10 days out in the backcountry. I might have to fill them up and just touch them up, adjust them a little bit. Plus you get a little bit sore, and it's just nice to be able to have that extra cushion. That's why I've gone to the newer style here with the Neo Air. The Neo Air has a membrane inside from the top and the bottom that helps to reflect the heat back to your bottom, the bottom of your body, to hold it in there and to keep the cold air from the ground from coming up in and changing the temperature of the air in here and making it uncomfortable. This one you have to completely blow up all on your own. It takes me about 21 breaths to fill it all the way up. I'll climb on it and probably let about a breath out or somewhere in there. This material that it's made out of, you can go on YouTube and watch other reviews. I'm not going to get that in depth. It's got a little bit of a noise to it. It doesn't really bother the twins. It really doesn't bother me. That membrane is a little bit loud in there, but it does work. I use this only now. This is all I ever use. It's about the size of an Nalgene bottle. It's perfect for me. It's lightweight. This thing is big. It does take up a lot of space. It is heavy compared to this one. This one's even lighter than that one. So just under a pound, this works out perfect for me. Like I said, I will get all these into stuff sacks and kind of show you what they look like and the normal system that I'd be sleeping in. This sleeping bag with this pad is one system, and then I'll use this bag whether I'm sleeping on this in the wintertime or on this one in the later hunts. Here in Utah, we've got the archery hunt that it starts in mid-August and goes until mid-September. Then the muzzleload hunt that starts for deer and elk that is at the end of September to the beginning of October, and then you got the rifle elk hunt that is the beginning of October, and then mid-October we have the rifle deer hunt. I prefer to archery hunt. This year I don't even know that I'll be able to hunt because of the cancer, but at any rate, what we're dealing with here, we'll get everything packaged up, and I'll just kind of show you the weight, tell you what the weight is, thereabouts, and the setup that I use, and give you an idea as to size-wise, volume, how these fill up my pack. So relative to those dates, on the archery hunt, I typically have to pack water, and but I don't have a lot of clothes, so I use a smaller pack. I can go farther, faster, deeper, steeper, but I can run real lightweight with these two items, and I'm perfectly fine. I make a little bit more room for higher volume of food because the amount of calories you burn and the amount of water that you got to carry with you. So that was the reason for jumping to the smaller size. I've been carrying this one and this one. It was just too heavy. And so we had a big backpacking trip, so I opted to buy this for my daughter to use when she goes with us, but also so I can use it for the backcountry stuff. That pretty much wraps up the sleeping bags. Again, each to their own. Down is just what I prefer. You can do synthetic; it just weighs more, and every ounce counts when you're whether you're early season, you're packing, 10, 12, 14, 15 pounds of mineral lick, trophy rock, which is a mineral that I use for deer and elk at my camera sites. I've got my boxes for my cameras, and my cameras, it's a lot of weight, and so it's super nice to be able to carry smaller compact items that don't weigh as much, to account for the 3 days that I'm going to be out carrying the big huge tripod, spotting scope, and all that gear to get the salt licks and the Big and J items that we use out to those spots. Basically what we do is we go out and we use to a new area. We use our spotting scope and we glass. We try and find where the bachelor bucks are hanging out and watch them for 2 days. Find out where their bedding area is, where the water area is, and the travel between those two. Once we get that figured out, then we say, okay, hey, this is a trail that they've been running for 2 days. Let's put the trophy lick right here with the mineral lick, and the food that we use from Big and J, the supplements from Big and J. That's an aroma smell that attracts the animals to that area. The salt lick holds them there, and then the meltdown is Big and J. You just dig up the ground, you mix it with water, you pour it in there, and then when you're done with that, you cover it back up. And every time that it rains, that moisture rehydrates that chemical, and it travels. The air picks those, the thermals pick that smell up, and they push them out so that other animals can find it. And we found that it works extremely well. It'll hold animals to it. We get repeat customers, so to speak, to those areas, and we are able to watch them from the beginning of the spring, early summer, clear through to our hunt, so we know what we're looking at. We can create our hit list as far as what bucks we're going to go for or what elk we're going to go for in that particular area. If you're fortunate enough to draw a moose tag or a goat tag, kind of the same principle there, but they typically bed in the same area on the hill in the thick timber, and they've got to come out to water. You just set up the camera in that area. Lightweight is the only way to do it, because that other stuff does weigh a lot. And it's good to get your friends involved if you don't mind sharing your hunting secret spots with them. My boys and I just do it all on our own with my cousin and his boy. But at any rate, I'll go ahead and pack these up, and we'll be right back. Now that everything's stuffed, as you can see, this wasn't designed for the sleeping bag. This stuff sack wasn't designed for this. It is a waterproof sack, and because of chemo, I've lost some of my muscle, and normally we got this shoved all the way down in there, but you get the point. Obviously, it doesn't do any good if you get all this bag hanging out. It will help though. So at any rate, this is going to keep you dry. One word of caution. I'll compress this down here in a minute and show you how small it really actually gets. It gets smaller than that, but you do not want to leave your down bag compressed like this for a long period of time. Usually what we do is the evening before we leave on a hunt, we'll go ahead and compress everything, get it all packed up, ready to go, double check our list, make sure we're done, have dinner, go to bed, get up the next morning, and backpack in and unpack. So we're less than 24 hours like this. Again, if you leave your sleeping bag compressed and stuffed, it's going to ruin the ability for the down to expand. You're going to crush it and break it down, and it's just going to wear out faster. But so pretend with me. Pretend this is all stuffed down in there and it's closed right. Anyway, the bag that they send you with, as you can see, there's quite a bit of room in here on the compression sack. So we opted to go this route because it helps keep the bag dry, so it won't get wet and we don't run into any issues there. So then what you'll do is we put it in here, and then you can utilize the ability to compress it, make it even smaller. Again, this sleeping bag is about 2 pounds. What I originally started doing, and the best way to do this, you just lay down on the floor. Use your chest. And you can push the air out and you can get it smaller. So when I first started, that's kind of what my setup was right there. And then I started having shoulder problems and whatnot, and had some pain with my shoulders. And so as you can see, this stuff sack, there's a little bit of room here on top. I could put a pillow in there if I wanted to. All three of these, I've got kits in the bottom for repairs. They've all held up really well. We've only had one that has had a little bit of a leak on it, one of these green ones. When you put this in your stuff sack, one area that's really prone, matter of fact, this is patched right here. There's a patch there, you can see a mark right there. What happens is this flexes back and forth, and the valve, you tend to see, get a hole right here, and we've already patched this one and it works really well. They do come with a patch in them. I haven't had any problems just right here on this one. This valve is the only one we've had a little bit of a leak in it. But you really want to be careful with this and just take care of it. Just keep in mind, flipping this around back and forth, it is going to create a weakness, and it will leak. And so one of the things you got to be careful with on this is making sure you have that kit in there so that you can patch it while you're out in the woods, because the last thing you want to do is have one of these things go flat and not be able to patch it. Now this is the black on the bottom, and it's got this green color on the top. This thing's huge. Here's the top of it, and I've still got 3-4 inches of room in the top so I can stuff stuff in, and you can see right here on the side, I've got 2-3 inches on the side. I don't know what they were thinking when they did the stuff sack for this particular one, but it's as big or bigger than my sleeping bag. Now there's my sleeping pad that I use with this particular sleeping bag. Essentially what you're doing is you're just squishing the air out of it, and it takes a little while to squish it out, but just to kind of give you an idea, when I started out, this is what I started out with, and this is what I use now. This is adequate. This will compress down a little bit more, but these two right here take the same volume as this, and between a pound on both of these weighs as much as just a sleeping bag. our next video we'll do a pack up, but real quick, so I don't have to repeat myself. This setup right here is my winter setup. This is what I would use if I'm sleeping on snow. If I've got a couple 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, or it's a late fall and it's really cold out, I'm going to use this setup right here. I'm going to take leaves and put leaves down underneath the tent and set my footprint and my tent on top of that, give me a little extra padding if there's no snow. So that's what I would use in that scenario. So in October, that's what I'm going to use. In September, I would most likely use this, but I potentially could take this if there's going to be a big cold snap and I just want to be warm. This right here is about 3 pounds. This right here is about 2.5 pounds. No, excuse me, I take that back. This is 3 pounds. This is 3.5 pounds, and this is 2 pounds. So I'm going to start my season out with this and go into this, and then depending upon how far away I'm getting from the vehicle, I may switch to this one or I may just stick with this one. Like I said, if I've got snow, I'm going to sleep this way. That'll be warm enough. If I'm not too far away, maybe a mile or so, and I really want some good comfort and I'm staying for 10 days, I'll go this route just for comfort. If it's freezing cold, it's late October on a deer rifle hunt, but this is ultimately what I'm going to go with every time. From summer, clean through as late as I can. This is a 32-degree bag with the layer that I wear underneath. I can go down to almost zero in this bag, about 14, 15 degrees, and I'll be perfectly fine. But anyway, that's kind of the rundown of what we do. Check back again in the next day or two. Like and subscribe, that way you'll know whenever we produce a new video, you'll be able to see it. But what we're going to go through tomorrow is I'm going to start out with early season backpack hunting, to a mid-season backpack hunting, to late season backpack hunting, utilizing the pack and all the gear that I would take to go on that pack, along with pre-season scouting, kind of to set up the pack that I used for that, and just kind of run through the packs that we have and how we would pack them to be able to get back into the backcountry and to harvest a big muley. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a good day.